Good evening. Those drums were pretty cool, huh? That was the Burundian drum troupe getting us in the spirit for this evening. My name is Michelle Schubert. I'm a volunteer at International Literacy and Development, or ILAD for short. And before volunteering, I was a staff member for a number of years, working as the Director of Global Resources. So this means that I know firsthand the inner workings of ILAD and also know that it's an organization made up of wonderful, hardworking people who care to do poverty alleviation and economic development really, really well. So I'm happy to be here tonight, and I'm blessed to have my colleague, Lawrence Turner, joining me. Lawrence is the Director of Business Development Centers for ILAD. He's so talented, so wise, so I'm excited for all of you to hear more from him tonight. Lawrence, thank you for being here with me this evening.
Michelle, it's really my pleasure. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm incredibly thankful for the people who've tuned in to watch us this evening. Tonight, ILAD is hosting its first ever hybrid event. This means that while you're watching from your home, there's a whole room of people here in South Lake, Texas, participating in this evening with you. Now, some of what you see is live from the room, and some of it will be, well, it's going to be unique to your experience.
Yeah, and tonight is all about charting pathways from poverty to flourishing. And the purpose of the event is to raise some much needed funds for programs around the world that are having absolutely transformational impact. So as you participate in this event tonight, I urge you to consider the change that you can make by donating. And to donate, you can click the donate button on your screen. You can scan the QR code that you see in the corner of the screen here. You can also call the number on the screen. That's 682-478-4979. If none of those options work, you can also text the number, but we can't text you back, so we'll have to call you back within the next 24 hours in order to make good on that decision to give. But okay, so that said, Lawrence, our theme tonight, as I said, was charting pathways from poverty to flourishing. And I've watched you do this, and I've also gotten to participate with you in your business development strategies around the world, from working with Venezuelan refugees who had fled to Brazil, to working with entrepreneurs in West Africa. And one neat project that many of the listeners and viewers may remember, it was a project in Togo that was taking place in an area with many villages that didn't have any access to clean water. And Lawrence, you mentored and trained a Togolese man to open up his own well drilling business. And now that business drills wells for profit near the capital where people can afford it, and drills free wells out in the villages for people who can't afford it but still need it. And so, Lawrence, I know you've done business development all over the world in countless countries, not just the ones that I mentioned. And I know that this is what your work is about, charting pathways from poverty to flourishing. Can you tell our audience more about the change that ILAD and also even your work specifically accomplishes?
Yeah, well, I wish we had all evening. We could talk about so many different stories, but starting out with ILAD generally, the heart of the organization is to see that people flourish. We work in some really difficult locations. And by difficult, I mean conflict zones, impoverished areas that have ethno-religious violence. So you can imagine that the people who live in these areas face very substantial obstacles that prevent them from flourishing. Now, ILAD is dedicated to long-term, sustainable, and transformative change. This is accomplished through long-term projects that consider the local needs and the local resources so the solution becomes effective. They often have the answers to their own problems. It's local solutions to local problems. And this is called asset-based development. We look at what they have, not at what they don't have. And so it's not only just business, but it's also agriculture, it's technology, it's education, it's literacy. All of these are examples of the local solutions to local problems. And one of these is that particular well drilling project you mentioned a minute ago in Togo, West Africa. And instead of going over there and drilling wells and being the heroes of ourselves and taking videos and high-fiving ourselves, this is where the locals are taught. And so we walked alongside the community. We helped this man, his name's Jacoby, start a sustainable, profitable business that meets a major need in the community, that is clean water. And just as importantly, Jacoby employs 8 to 9 people who have jobs with dignity. And they're working for a boss who actually cares for them. So I'm sure you've heard it said, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, and you teach him to fish, feed him for a lifetime. We believe that you help a man or a woman start a fishing business and they can feed an entire community for generations. And for example, I was just in Kenya. I've done a lot of work in Kenya. And I was talking to our Maasai administrator there, and I asked him, I said, well, how many people have come through this program, let's say in the last 7 or 8 years? He said over 130 or so. And out of that, 60 plus businesses have launched, and there's been one failure. And that happened before COVID. This is such a, violates all the statistics you've ever heard, but it's really true. And the gentleman's name is Mamiti Olikasale, and during the height of COVID, he said, Brother Lawrence, when can you come back? We've got to resume classes because what you have done has changed our city. And now we've got people on waiting lists to go through this training.
Wow. I like that. You called it asset-based development, focusing on what the people have, not what they don't have. I love that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And so actually we're about to jump to the live event that's happening where you are, there in Dallas. But when that happens, we'll get to watch a video that will tell us a little bit more about ILAD's work. We'll also get to hear from Brenda Holland, ILAD's CEO, and then we'll hear from Dalal and Vion, who are former refugees that now work with ILAD. Their story is amazing, so stick around for that. And hopefully those of you watching from afar also know about the drawing that we have each year in this virtual event. If you've tuned in years past, you have seen us near the end of the event, we draw names. And those names are people who signed up for this event, and in this case, also the live event. And we'll draw the name. If you are present, you have won the opportunity to donate $1,000 of someone else's money to the project of your choice.
Isn't that great? Hey, make sure you stick around to the end. You don't want to miss hearing your name called.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, the purpose of today's event is to raise money. The work of ILAD is not cheap. You know, it costs money to not only accomplish the incredible life-changing projects, but also to have staff and to keep the lights on, so to speak. So I also want to say something that people might not know. Just about every single staff member in the organization raises their own salary in donations, meaning these are people that are so bought in that they are willing to forego normal assurances of a salary. And it means that every dollar matters. I can't emphasize that enough. This work does not get done without people like you who have decided to be generous, people who have decided they want to change the world, people who have decided they want to end some measure of suffering and then take that step and donate. So the people who donate to this work really are the reason that the work can continue. So as you listen this evening, please join us on the front lines by donating. You can fill out the form below this video if you're watching on the website. You can also hit that donate button. You can scan the QR code that you see in the corner of the screen. That'll also take you to a donating page. You can also call that number on the screen, 682-478-4979. Again, you can text that number as well, but we'll have to give you a call back in the next 24 hours to follow up with you and make that donation happen.
I was a farmer, just a normal farmer, but I didn't get much results. Because after working hard, I didn't get much profit out of what I was doing. I farmed the field, but there was hunger for my family and my children.
I mean, the poverty, you can smell it. I mean, it's not just you see it, but you can see in every corner that things are very difficult for them.
We would need money to take our children to the hospital, or to pay their school fees, or to travel, but they couldn't go.
So much suffering in the world comes down to invisible walls, barriers that keep people from reaching their potential. Often it's the basics that hold people back. Imagine not being able to read or write, or not being able to speak the main language in your country. It leaves people feeling shut out, pushed to the sidelines, and hopeless. This kind of poverty is not just in one place. We're talking about rural families in Africa, nomadic groups in the Middle East, those facing oppression in Central Asia, and even refugees who've resettled right here in our own backyard. It's closer to home than you might think.
I remember the night when I heard two of my husband's partners got killed.
My dad said we have to leave the house because ISIS start entering the city from the other side.
The same night, we just like got a call, and he said to my husband, "You are the next. Say bye to your wife, say bye to your son."
We ran away by our car with just a backpack and a one dream to be in a safe place.
What sets us apart is how we design our programs. Everything we do is meant to be replicable, sustainable, and relevant. Our goal is to create pathways for these communities to truly flourish.
The farmers in my country they are like marginalized, and nobody believes in them, and nobody trusts them. We don't think that they are bad people. We want to give them opportunity to come and start their farm. We saw the need and we just give them the solution.
Ever since we started planting pineapples, now our money when we sell the pineapples, we take our money and we put in the savings account. Now we are free. We don't worry anymore about what we will eat.
Now I have my own land and have been pineapple farming ever since. It helps me care for my family, and that is why I keep going.
Instead of coming in with pre-made solutions, we start by figuring out what strengths and skills the communities already have. We partner with them to develop solutions that really fit their needs.
Dallas-Fort Worth has been a top 4 destination for refugees coming into the U.S. Language is going to be a barrier. Not knowing the formal credit system here, not understanding banking and how the banking system works. The Business Development Center guides refugees into starting their own business.
We also have an education and social services program that seeks to provide citizenship and English classes for Rohingya refugees.
All of these things, ILAD provide refugees to skip all these struggling. I don't want to see any refugees face the same struggling I faced before.
That's why I work with ILAD, to make it easier for the refugee community.
I'm overwhelmed by the work of ILAD. The way they work with us, it really pleases me. It gives me such joy. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to say thank you. The work is great. It has brought a lot of benefits to my life. My heart is so gladdened. I am free of worry.
All right. Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Brenda Holland. I'm the president of International Literacy and Development, or ILAD for short, as you heard us say. First of all, I want to just thank you for spending your evening with us here tonight. Whether you're in this room or whether you're joining us virtually, everybody can kind of wave. I don't know exactly where the cameras are, but we actually have a virtual audience with us tonight. That's part of the reason why we had to start the video on time. So we're trying to stay on a time that will also keep our virtual audience with us. So welcome to everyone. We're so grateful that you chose to be here tonight. Flourishing, you've heard us say that already. And for years, ILAD that term has been a primary motivation for us. We think of flourishing. But that word's also kind of been a buzzword lately. You might have heard it around and other people using it. So let's talk about and think about flourishing. You probably can imagine what flourishing looks like when you see it in your own life. It might look like your child going to college, or your best friend getting a promotion, or maybe your next door neighbor competing in their first marathon. Shout out to our runners back there. So those are ideas of flourishing that you might imagine. But what about what flourishing might look like for a refugee from Syria or Rwanda or Myanmar or any number of nations? What about people in a developing nation? What about what would a mother want for her baby daughter? What would a humanitarian worker in one of those nations desire as a sign of flourishing? What would a school teacher want to set before their students as a measure of flourishing to rise toward? Pretty much the same as what we would want for our coworkers or employees, or our children, our students, our babies. Health and well-being, right? That's what we would want. Prosperity. We want access to information and opportunity. Maybe some of us would want starting a business is flourishing, or scaling a business. I know we have a lot of business folks with us tonight. That's what flourishing might look like and what we would hope for. Well, ILAD promotes human flourishing through educational, economic, and social development in communities that are under-resourced. And we do this by partnering with these communities to facilitate local solutions to local problems. And you're going to get to hear about some of those tonight. We do this in 4 basic ways: agricultural development, educational development, including literacy, business development, and human language technology. With that one, you may not know what that is, but think Google Translate, but for languages that you've never heard of because they're under-resourced. Flourishing sounds great, but seeing it blossom right in front of you is even better. So later tonight, you're going to get to meet Latte Lawson, who I got to see flourish when I lived and worked in Togo, West Africa. I first met him as an orphaned high school student and witnessed his transformation to flourishing as he graduated high school, then college, and then he received a master's degree before he went and started a huge agricultural training program that has transformed an entire county and has helped over 2,000 farmers flourish. And Latte's flourishing has created a ripple effect in the community. Because of his flourishing, schools have been built, wells have been dug, and medical care has been provided. I also remember a young lady named Afi that I met when I worked in Togo. She was a young newlywed trying to find her place in the world. She had struggled with infertility and self-worth, and a literacy program that I had developed in the local language allowed her to begin a new journey. Although she had never been to school, she was actually a really quick student. And after completing just 5 months of literacy training, I saw her blossom. She could read, write, and even teach others. She became a leader among women and a leader in her church. She flourished in her business dealings. She actually sold little greens and tomatoes, and she was able to make a budget, and then she could actually record in writing the things that she was selling, what she would need, and she was able to flourish in that business. Eventually, she had children, and those children now had a model of flourishing, something to aspire to. Afi deeply influenced my understanding of human potential and the transformative power of education. It's the same spirit that drives ILAD's mission today. You tonight, you are here to help remove barriers that stand in the way of flourishing in mind, body, and spirit. Imagine a world where everyone, regardless of their circumstances, can flourish. This is the world that ILAD longs to participate in, and you are an essential part of this vision. Augustine of Hippo is credited as saying, "Hope has two beautiful daughters. Anger and courage are their names. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain as they are." Tonight, it is my prayer that we unite in Hope and her two daughters. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain as they are. Right now, I have the honor of introducing three remarkable individuals who you saw in our video. Latte Lawson from Togo, West Africa. Latte, will you please stand and wave? Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Dalal Murad and Vian Albirwari. Both are Iraq refugees. Truly, these individuals right here are the heart of ILAD's success. They have dedicated themselves to creating pathways out of poverty and into flourishing, ensuring that communities don't face the same hardships they've experienced. At this time, I'd like to invite Nick Corshane, who is the administrator of the Dallas Refugee Business Development Center, along with Dalal and Vian, to the stage. They are going to get to share about our work and the impact that they've witnessed among the refugee community right here in Dallas. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Good evening, everybody. As Brenda mentioned, I'm Nick Corshane, the program manager for the Refugee Business Development Program right here in DFW. And I do also have the privilege of being up here with Dalal Murad and Vian Albirwari. I want to start with a thought experiment for you guys. I want you to imagine that you've just stepped off a plane. You're getting off of the plane, huge airport, everything you own is in a couple suitcases. And this is not a vacation. You are fleeing persecution. You've left behind your home, your life, everything you know, probably family, because most likely somebody there's an organization, a group that was making your life, let's say, unpleasant. Why? Could be because of your religion, or perhaps maybe you're a close family member or somebody that you're close with was working with the U.S. military. And so now you find yourself staying in an entirely new country. You don't know the language. You don't know the culture. You don't know how things work. And you've never been here before. And surprise, the language is new. You don't know English, or whatever it happens to be. Let's say it's English. So it's not a language you're fluent in. The signs are foreign. The faces are unfamiliar, and the only thing that you can really recognize is that gnawing feeling in your gut of just what comes next, just uncertainty. Your connections are few. Your path forward is blurry at best. You just don't know what comes next. But you're standing at an opportunity. You know that you have freedom. You know that you have something that you can do. You're coming with skills. You're coming with hope. You're coming with freedom. But again, you don't know the language. You don't know what to do next. Where can you turn? So that right there is why we are doing what we're doing, why we are serving people, and why we are caring for refugees, because they're getting over here, they're trying to figure out what's next, and they don't really know what to do. They don't know where to turn. And so we get to do that, and I get to work with these two to help them, equip them to figure out what it is. I'm going off script because that's just what I'm going to do. So DFW is one of the top 3 destinations for refugee resettlement here in the U.S. When I say refugee, I'm speaking of legal refugee. If you want to talk politics, that's a different story. But let me tell you, as we've talked to the 10 to 15 different refugee communities that we have right here in DFW, the 2 things that we've heard time and time again, and you'll hear it from these 2 as they talk, is deep gratitude and deep uncertainty. You don't know where to go. You don't know where to turn, and you don't know who to trust. And that's why our program is here to help people figure out how you can manage your finances, how you can build a credit score, how you can figure out if you want to start a business, what that takes and what you need to do to take those steps that sometimes can be really scary. So with that, Dalal and Vian, as refugees yourselves, you've since become citizens and have done all of the stuff you got to do to get to that point. You've walked alongside our clients and you've experienced many of the same struggles that they've gone through. There that goes. Your families have had to deal with concerns and struggles that many of us are just never going to understand. But I want to start with how it was when you first came over here to the US. So Dalal, we saw a little bit of your story in the video, and there's another one if you want to get online, check it out. Can you please tell us a little bit about how it felt when you first arrived in the US? It was summertime in Texas and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. So regarding your question, I remembered I stepped out a hot air in my face, and I asked my sister, they came back to Iraq again. So yeah, I was in Houston actually. So yeah, I remember I being so happy. We had a dream and hope, but it was scary. It was a different scare than leaving Iraq or our time in Turkey. It was the fear of the unknown. Like I had like practical worries, like how to do like basic things. Who can I trust? What paperwork I need to do? How can I get job and money? But helping my parents and my family resettle in the same time, managing my worries.
So uncertainty, fear, lots of stuff going on there.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Vian Burwari. So yeah, I would love to share my feeling at the first time when I came here. So getting here, it was a dream come true. I've been waited 6 years to get at this moment. I wanted to be that person to get my family from there to here with a lot of hope and safety. But I couldn't like getting my whole family to here. I know I'm new here with a new life, with a lot of things, and I feel I do have freedom here. But on the other side, I have a lot of loss.
So you experienced loss. You had some family here and had to leave family back home. How long did it take you to feel like you were really here? Like America was your home, like this was my home now?
So it is around 3 to 4 years.
The same, like I felt home after 3 to 4 years.
Okay. So now you're here. Within the first little while, you've got to start doing things like managing your money. Correct me if I'm wrong. I assume managing money here in the US is different than managing your money in Iraq.
Exactly.
Okay. You suddenly have a credit score to manage, which is something you've never had to do before. You also had an entirely new healthcare system. How was it learning to figure all of that out, like taking care of your families while also trying to navigate dealing with the loss and the trauma and all the stuff you guys have had to go through?
Okay, so many refugees cannot find a good job here. In many ways, we are on our own. But many refugees are, especially Iraqi refugees, they are educated professionals, but the language is a huge barrier. So they cannot find the same work they did before. And starting their own business is already hard. And as a refugee, it's even harder. But we need to remember that, like, very things that can create a stable income for our families.
Yeah, so also managing money, it's very different here compared to our home, especially everything by English language. So sometimes it's take us like in a deeper hole. But having someone who speak Arabic, who can trust, coach, guide, that helps refugees to build a solid foundation. It's not just help refugees, it's help their families too, including all of us. So invest in us to be able to invest in them and give them like a chance to build a new life here and stable life here.
Yeah. So over the last couple of years, as I've been working with both of you, and as people have been supporting us to be able to do that, we've been able to serve hundreds of refugees just here in Dallas. We've seen multiple business launched that otherwise would not have launched. And we've had multiple different people and families begin to build their credit and understand how to navigate their finances here in the US. So can you tell us a couple of things that you've heard from our clients that you've heard?
Yeah, so I heard like from like most of my clients, just connecting to us, it's provide us a lot of hope, especially if someone take care for us and speak Arabic. That's give us a chance to get answers for all our questions and get better life here.
Oh yes, so for refugee, when they get here, we don't have a large community for them. So it's not easy to find someone to trust. It's not easy to find someone you can share everything with them. So I heard from my clients, like, when you knew someone you can trust in your coaching program, this will motivate me more to do more, and showed me that the managing money and starting my own business that I have dreamed about are all of them possible.
Yeah. So I want to thank you both for sharing with us just a small piece of what it's like to arrive in the US as a refugee. Thank you for being a part of ILAD. Thank you for being a part of serving your community and helping a community that's here be better. And I want to thank all of you for supporting us and being here and helping us to see communities flourish all around us. I promise next time you'll have to come to the next one. Maybe we'll pull out some drums. I don't know. But
thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was awesome. A couple of things. Brenda talked about how the
Wow.
All right.
You know, it's just these stories are just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Michelle, it is so critical that people join us in this effort. I mean, for example, we've heard these stories, but as much as we've made progress in Togo, we're now in our 7th cohort in the last 3 or 4 years, 60 plus people trained. We've got coaches trained. We're turning this over to the Togolese so we can deploy resources elsewhere. Well, you know what? It all goes away if we don't fund it this evening. I mean, there is no more money in the budget. It is not the time to scale back. In fact, it's been so successful, we're going to have to increase our budget to hire a new staff member to handle the increasing workload. I mean, we are creating transformative impact in human flourishing. You know, folks, it's not the time to falter, but to press forward. We need your help. But more importantly, there are families in Togo for whom this training for sustainable income is literally a lifeline. So please join us this evening, please, and continue to impact the lives of so many people.
Yeah, exactly. I do hope that everyone viewing here is able to see just how valuable and life-changing this work is. And in order to give, again, you can scan the QR code on the corner of the screen. You can hit the donate button. You can call that number on the screen, 682-478-4979. If none of those work for you, you can also text that number. We won't be able to text you back, but we will give you a call back within the next 24 hours to make good on your decision to donate. So.
Yep.
And Lawrence, I guess one question I have for you is, why do you do this work?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's, I had the revelation. I'd spent my whole career in business, working in healthcare, sales, and technology, and later in financial services. And God's given a lot to me, and it's a calling. And to whom much is given, much is required. And I only have one shot at this life. I really do, just one shot. And so I just wanted to make it count for all it could.
Wow. Yeah. And I want to point something out too. It sounds like you saw the need, you saw your resources. So kind of like asset-based development that you're doing elsewhere, you kind of applied that to your own life. You said, what do I have? And what is the need? I'm going to go use what I have, which in your case is business knowledge, business acumen, and you piece those two things together. So you met the need with what you have. And tonight, that's what we're asking all the viewers to do too. All the people that are tuned in tonight, all the people that are in the room with you there in Texas tonight, there's a huge need. And guys, you've heard the stories, the kinds of locations and the kinds of people that we're working with. And where will they be if no one hears their desperation for their families and for their kids? So I ask you to be like Lawrence, that you would meet the need with what you have. By donating, you are offering that pathway from poverty to flourishing.
Yeah, Michelle, and like I said, it's more blessed to give than receive. And I just want to encourage people to view this as an opportunity to join in an opportunity to end suffering, an opportunity to buy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of lag on the audio. I'm not sure if everybody's having that or if it's just my internet, but hopefully everyone heard that. I totally agree, Lawrence. Opportunity to really buy joy for yourself and others. I love that. All right, so while you send in your donations tonight, we're going to draw to see who wins those $1,000 grants that we were talking about. These $1,000 grants can just be given to any ILAD project of your choice. So I have a basket right here with a lot of names in it. These are people who registered beforehand for either the in-person event or the online event. And I'm gonna pull 5 names out of here. If you hear your name, please text the number on the screen. Tell us that you're here. Tell us your first name and tell us your full name and the project that you would like to fund. Okay, and we'll make sure to get in touch with you to make sure that you know that the money got to the project that you wanted to fund. So go ahead and do a drum roll for me. First name is Lisa Caldwell.
Lisa.
Well, name number 2 is Pamela Griever. Pamela Griever. Third name is Patsy Rutledge. Patsy Rutledge. Fourth name is Josiah Holland. Josiah Holland.
Awesome.
And the last name is Jason Anderson. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to repeat those again. If your name is called or was called, text the number on the screen. Let us know that you're present and which project you would like to fund. That was Josiah Holland, Patsy Rutledge, Lisa Caldwell, Jason Anderson, and Pamela Griever. So congratulations.
Oh, yeah, thanks. That's fun. Folks, just a reminder of those whose name were drawn, make sure you text in so we know you're present and so we know what project you want that $1,000 to go to.
Absolutely. And we're about to reach the conclusion of our program tonight. Thank you again for coming. We hope that you have been moved to generosity tonight. And we ask that you share your interest in ILAD with people you think would also get joy out of being a catalyst for this kind of incredible change. So also thank you, Lawrence, for being here. And again, thank you to all of you who have donated and have joined ILAD in charting pathways from poverty to flourishing.
Yeah. Listen, can I add one more thing? You too can take part in this transformative experience. As our students receive expert guidance from Western business professionals, your support can help shape the future of aspiring entrepreneurs around the world. And I hope our stories in this evening have inspired you. Now it's your turn to get involved, whether through mentorship, partnership, or even spreading the word. You can make a lasting impact. And tonight, you can make that impact by donating. Join us in empowering the next generation of leaders. Thank you all. And thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight. Since 2012, we have been consistently receiving your support through ILAD to serve our people in education, business development, literacy, in agriculture. With you, we touch thousands of lives, and we want to say thank you.